It's clear, having the first overall draft pick in 2024 is not the same as having it in 2023.
Victor Wembanyama from Nanterre, France.
While Victor Wembanyama has had enough impact to change the course of a franchise during his rookie year, no one expects the player drafted first overall this year to be able to do the same. Because even if we all know it, Victor's a true anomaly.
And off Horford into Victor, he's ahead of the pack, he just puts it over Derek White's head!
Now, does that mean that the player chosen first in this year's draft doesn't have a really high ceiling? Hell no. Alexandre Sarr seems like another example of this type of player. Huge, with perimeter skills, and really mobile. Now, his maturity level coming into the league is nothing like that of Wemby, but his potential, for several reasons, is incredibly high. So what's made Sarr the best prospect of his class, and can he translate his game to the NBA, and what's his best case scenario or his worst case scenario? Let's talk about it. If there's something that makes Sarr special, it's his background. He knows every possible type of basketball style even before he comes into the NBA. When he was only 4 years old, Sarr started playing basketball. The reason was simple. His family had a history with basketball. Alexandre Sarr, his father, was a professional Senegalese player, and his older brother Olivier is currently on the roster of the NBA's Oklahoma City Thunder. In Bordeaux, his hometown, Alexandre grew up in the context of European basketball. He was formed as most of the prospects of the old continent are formed, developing the tactical aspect of the game before the technical. In 2019, Sarr made the decision to move to Spain. There he would play for Real Madrid for 2 seasons, in which he was a part of the cadet youth team. But Spanish and French basketball are not very different, and to become the best prospect in the world, he would need to adapt to another type of environment. That's why in 2021, Sarr moved to the United States to join Overtime Elite. In this way, Alexandre became the first European player to make this decision to join the most modern development circuit in the world. And in OTE, he showed what he was capable of. Almost as soon as he arrived, he became one of the best rim protectors in the entire competition. Yeah, in the 2021-2022 season, Sarr was not only a 16-year-old making $100,000 a year, he was also the owner of the 3rd highest block percentage in all of Overtime. Alex decided to stay in OTE for a second season in which he gained a lot of prominence within his team. In fact, he was one of the most important players of the team that was the runner-up the year before. He was voted second team All-OTE with averages of 11.1 points and 6.4 rebounds per game, but most importantly, Sarr shot well from the three-point line that season.
You need a one-on-one for the rest of the game. Edon kicks it back. Alex, pump fake into a shot. Yeah! Bucket.
After finishing the season in overtime, Sarr wanted to try more different environments, and the NBL's Next Stars program seemed like a very attractive option. Without further ado, the center was off to Australia to participate in the regular season.
Having the opportunity to join the Next Star program and be a part of the NBL.
It must be said that this decision was relatively risky, as leaving Overtime would put him in an unfamiliar environment, a different style of basketball in which he would have to adapt quickly. If Sarr didn't prove himself capable of doing so, it could hurt his image and reputation as a prospect. However, he did. Alexandre showed a quality performance with the Perth Wildcats, where he averaged 9.4 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 0.9 assists in the 17 minutes of playing time he averaged per game. In addition, his efficiency was excellent for a player of his age. The NBL's been the definitive proof that this game is reliable at any level of basketball.
About defensively getting some stops, although might have got lucky with that one.
Now, what makes Sarr such a special prospect? Besides the fact that he has a background of success in multiple contexts. Well, the most impressive thing is undoubtedly his athleticism. What used to be the exception is slowly becoming the norm. We're seeing more and more cases of huge big men who are able to move like perimeter players. Wemby and Chet have been in a great duel for Rookie of the Year as such players, and now Sarr's the next player on that list. At 7'1" and 220 pounds, his footwork and agility are truly impressive. A player this big with this mobility is a constant mismatch machine in modern basketball. Like Wemby, his 7'5" wingspan, coupled with his frame and speed, make him an unstoppable lob threat who has more reach than virtually any defender.
To the live, Usher works inside Bruce, drew the attention, this time Sarr.
While not a reliable shooter, he has shown the ability to score from the perimeter. His form looks good enough to become a 3-level scorer, and although technically he's not yet the most polished player in his class, his willingness to try new moves is something that's caught everyone's attention. In other words, you can tell that Alexandre's a fast learner. But that's just his offensive potential. On defense, Sarr looks like a player who could make an immediate impact in the NBA, despite coming into the league at just 19 years old. As he showed at overtime, he's a great rim protector, he's a great shot blocker, but also, of all these unicorns we've compared him to, Sarr is probably the best prepared to defend small players, even better than Victor Wembanyama.
Difficult thing to change.
That's one thing he
Sarr's excellent at defending ball screens and is capable of defending even guards in certain contexts. In other words, you could say that Alexander is a more raw prospect with a similar build to Wembanyama. In fact, he's somewhat similar to what Victor would have been if he wasn't one of the most gifted talents in basketball history. Now, I know he's not as big nor mature for his age, but if Victor and his playstyle have the success it looks like they're going to have in the NBA, it's to be expected that Sarr will be able to adapt his game to the league sooner than we think. It's basically been the motive of his whole journey. It could be at the center position or even at the power forward as we saw at the beginning of Wemby's rookie season. But that'll be a task his future head coach will have to take care of. Another aspect is also true. This profile of huge, fast players has not been seen for the first time in 2023. Players like Bol or even Mo Bamba have had the opportunity to be pioneers within this group, and the truth is that their careers haven't turned out as people expected. In Bamba's case, you could argue that it's purely due to a lack of talent, and in a way his basketball IQ, but Bol's case is strange considering that he's always shown signs of quality in the limited playing time he's had.
They double Booker, who's red hot with 21. Bol, the spinner.
Now, the difference between these prospects and Sarr is that the Frenchman's going to be an above-average defender in his first season in the league. However, there's something curious about this draft. Scouts claim that there's an absence of star talent among the prospects, who seem in many cases better suited to be elite role players in the best-case scenario. But indirectly, that situation's created a unique phenomenon. As it happened in the 2013 draft, guessing the top 10 of this upcoming draft seems an impossible task. Still, it seems that Sarr's the favorite to be picked first overall, provided that his French compatriot Zachary Risacher doesn't make it. And we know that the Atlanta Hawks are surprisingly the owners of that first position after having a lucky lottery.
The number 1 pick in the 2024 NBA draft goes to the Atlanta Hawks.
A team that's in a complicated situation after their franchise player was featured in numerous potential trades that may occur during the offseason. With or without Trey, if the Hawks are enticed enough to draft Sarr, the rookie will have a good opportunity to prove his value in the best league in the world from practically the first moment. We've seen how the NBA's become a league of wings over the last 2 decades. The best players in the league were able to create for themselves and others from the perimeter. And the old brute centers had slowly gone out of fashion. With Joker and Embiid, they came back on the map, but this trend of players coming into the draft year after year seems to indicate that the league will be very different in just a decade. We're already seeing the effects of pace and space in the type of players that appear in each June draft. But in this skyline of skyscrapers, there are always a few who are going to stand out more than the rest. Sarr has a chance to be one of those players who help push the boundaries of basketball beyond.